What's going on, guys? Different day, same job site, but a new piece of equipment. And you guys probably already know from the thumbnail what I'm going to show you. So this is the 𝐒𝐓𝐀𝐿 zero-turn mower from Stihl. Yes, it's a repainted Ferris. Everybody already knows that, so let's just kind of get that out of the way. But I am working with Stihl this year. Last year, they sent me the 752i. But the only problem was I only got to use it for a month. So of course, a month is not enough time for me to really put a bunch of hours on this thing to kind of give you guys my opinion of what I think of the machine. So we don't typically use these mowers that much in our job sites because we've been using the the walkers. The reason why we use the walkers is because you can't really see here, but my properties aren't completely flat. We're not doing big open fields. And so there is a ton of dips. I don't know if you guys can see, probably right there where it's scalped, some light dips, and these zero turns with the 60-inch decks just can't get those. And that's one reason why we went to walkers. But where I can use this one on is a lot of the big open fields, which we're gonna do. So last year they sent me the 752iK. The one thing I did not like about it though, was it seemed like the 52-inch deck didn't have the greatest cut quality. I believe it was the older version of their deck technology. So this one's the 60-inch deck, which has a little bit better of a cut. So that's why I requested this one. So the other thing I did not like about the other one was we had a bagging system on it, which I did request for this one. I might get it later. The problem that I noticed with the bagging system was because you had these front counterweights, when you would go to stop, all the weight would shift to the front. And because you got the front shocks, it would kind of dip and kind of scalp into the grass. One thing I do need help on is deciding what chute blocker I want to put on this thing. So I've never owned one of those chute blockers. So if there is one that you guys recommend that I put on, whatever brand or whatever, please let me know, because I do need that help from you guys. But we're gonna take this and we're gonna hit all the big fields here at the property so I can show you guys what's going on. So without further ado, let's get started. So Jason finishing up blowing a couple yards. There's 2 heads I gotta fix. Jason was mowing earlier this morning. We had our irrigation water go on for the first time last Sunday. And as you guys know, at the beginning of the season, usually the heads get stuck up in the grass and they're just barely sticking up enough where the walker deck clipped 2 of the heads. So I gotta go fix those really quick. Overall, I really like the mower. I thought it was very smooth. Like I said, last year I demoed one. I demoed the 52. I think the quality of the 60-inch is way better. The reason why I asked for a 60-inch was I was talking to one of the Stihl reps. He told me that the newer decks are better, for one, and 2, the 60-inch, the blades tend to overlap slightly more than the 52, so you get a better quality cut, because I noticed that on the 52, it would leave these streaks when you were cutting pretty thick grass. So we weren't cutting thick grass today, but the overall cut quality of the 60 was really good. The other thing I really liked is the wider tires. I prefer the wider tires, especially when bagging, to avoid leaving ruts in the grass. So that's a big benefit. And the size of the tires are pretty good, almost the width of my hand, of course, spread out. The overall ride was very smooth. The shocks are really nice. The seat's very comfortable. Now, the one thing I did notice about this mower, and I mentioned it earlier in the video, was when I demoed the one last year with the bagging system, when I would go to turn around, I would notice it would scalp because you would back up and the weight would shift to the front and scalp. So I figured this is not gonna do that because it doesn't have counterweights on the front and it doesn't have this overall bagging system, right? Well, if you guys notice in the video, I do a 3-point turn because it's just overall leaves a better look versus doing a 0 turn where if you pivot on that one wheel, it tends to tear up the grass around here. So I don't like to do that. So, one thing I did notice is that when I would go to do my 3-point turn, it would actually scalp slightly. And I found the way to kind of avoid that is just lifting up the deck just a little bit when I go to do my reverse. So if you guys run a Ferris or if you guys have a Stihl or anything similar to that, if you guys are running into that same issue, I'd like to know kind of what you guys think of it and how you guys avoid it. I found something simple, but it probably will get kind of annoying doing that every single time. But overall, the mower was really good. I love the Kawasaki 𝐒𝐓𝐾. I will say one thing I also don't like is that your throttle is electric. So what you do is you just hold this button right here. And the problem is that there's no indicator, so you don't know if you're at max or not. So clearly, the more you run it, the more you'll know if you're at max or not. One thing I can see happening with new guys is them not realizing that you're at full RPM and basically running the engine at either half RPM or just slightly max. And so since there's no indicator, that's the one thing I just don't like about that one. Just something simple, something that can, I think, be fixed. I think the overall quality of the mower is good. I know a lot of guys don't like the color scheme of the Stihls with the orange and the white. I personally would prefer a Ferris red, since clearly red is my color, right? But the orange and white doesn't bother me that much. I would probably pick this over the yellow just because I've been seeing yellow for so many years and yellow is just not my favorite color. But overall, like I said, really like this. Fun fact, I was actually looking at buying a Ferris 0 turn last year. The issue was, out of the 5 dealers I called within a 4-mile radius, or yeah, 4-hour drive radius of me, none of them really had Ferris mowers. So they're just not really popular out this way and there's just not enough support. And every time I asked to demo one, they said you had to buy it first and then you can demo. So what's the point of demoing, right? The other issue was that there was one company that said, yes, you can demo it, but you can only ride it around in the parking lot. And I'm like, what's the point? I can't test it out at my job site. So I was looking at switching over to Ferris last year. Didn't work because there's just no dealer support. And that is one of the benefits I'm starting to see with the Stihl 0 turn mowers is that my main dealer now is a Stihl dealer and they sell these mowers. So I do have that support compared to if I had a Ferris. So a lot of guys are wondering why would I go with the Stihl over a Ferris? And really, as of right now, that's, unless you like the colors, then clearly go for the Stihl, right? The biggest benefit I'm seeing is dealer support for Stihl out my way versus Ferris. So anyways, that's kind of my quick rundown of the mower. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Be sure to leave a comment down below. I have plenty more videos of this coming up because we have recording tomorrow and another property I'm going to be doing using this thing. So hope you guys enjoy this. Be sure to leave a comment down below. I do need your suggestions on, like I said, recommending a chute blocker for this thing because I do need one. And I will see you guys next time on Ambrose Landscaping.